Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be talking about some brand new set leak photos and promotional posters for Spider-Man Brand New Day. We just got a whole bunch of posters and leaked set photos of this movie, and I cannot wait to get into this video. But before we get into that, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and turn on post notifications to notify when I post a new video. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so like I said, we got some brand new posters and set leak photos and new still photos from the movie. Let's just go over the posters from Empire and some leaked promotional photos that reveal a lot about the movie. Okay, so in this first photo, it gives us a closer look at Spider-Man, but more importantly, his web shooters. As you can see, his web shooters have accents of green, specifically 6 green dots, 3 on each side. Now, this could just be how they look, or it could be a hint to gamma radiation or like some type of gamma technology being in his webs, maybe to make his web shooters produce faster force or like swing out faster or something like that. Something he probably picked up with Professor Bruce Banner being his professor in the university. He probably picked something up from the university, like how gamma radiation makes things powerful, or like gives like something like an extra boost, and made some adjustments to his web shooters. Maybe that's just how they're gonna look in the movie. And before we move on, I just wanna note that his suit keeps getting better the more I look at it. But anyways, we also see the hand in the background of this Empire cover. Nothing really new. It's just a really high definition of what they're gonna look like in a clearer photo of their suits. But now let's move on to what, in my opinion, is the more interesting Empire cover photo. In this next photo, we see Spider-Man on a giant web, and below him are multiple hand agents. It seems like the hand is gonna be a very predominant factor in this movie, as they're like in majority of a lot of the official arts. Or maybe they're just using them so they don't have to show any of their heavy hitters, like maybe the Hulk or other villains like Tombstone and Scorpion, who I will mention in this video today. Anyways, one thing I want to know about this cover specifically is what the hand are holding. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen Daredevil season 2 in a minute. I know in that season, they are like really in that season. And from my memory, I only remember them using like the basic ninja weapons like shurikens, swords, nunchucks, all that basic, classic ninja stuff. But in this photo, we see them with some black type of batons, it seems like, and they seem to be technology, like modern day type of weapons. And this could tell us that they probably were hired by somebody to take down Peter, and whoever hired them gave them more weapons to take down the Spider-Man. Or maybe they just got a big weapon upgrade and they finally decided to move on from the basic ninja weapons to more modern day weapons. But other than that, this Empire cover looks amazing. I love how the Empire logo is being held up by webs. It's very simplistic, but really well detailed. As moving on to more promotional art, or I guess you can say leaked posters for the movie. And this one is really interesting. This poster gives us a brand new look at the Hulk in Spider-Man Brand New Day. And from the looks of it, it looks like it is indeed Savage Hulk, what we were all hoping for. I'm so happy seeing Savage Hulk in this movie. He looks absolutely fantastic. If this is how he's gonna look in the movie, I am perfectly fine with it. The design is absolutely amazing. I just want Savage Hulk to be back and stay. We don't care about Smart Hulk anymore. You can get rid of him for good, Marvel. Please. Anyways, going back to what is actually in this photo, it looks like Spider-Man and Hulk are obviously fighting, but correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like the building that they're fighting on is the Chrysler Building, or it could be the Empire State Building, but whatever, that's not really important. What's really important is another kind of version of this exact same photo, but this version shows us that we might get Gray Hulk in this movie. If you look closely, it looks like he's like half gray on the bottom and green on the top. This could tell me that either one, when he first transformed into Savage Hulk, it kind of gives him like a factory reset because he hasn't been Savage Hulk in so long. So he goes to being like a gray looking type of Hulk, but as he keeps going on and like keeps living as Savage Hulk, he goes back and transitions back into his original green form. Or maybe it's the other way around and we'll be stuck with a new look at Savage Hulk and he's gray. But either way, the whole Gray Hulk idea is paying homage to how Hulk was supposed to look throughout all of comics and even going into live action, because Stan Lee actually wanted the character to be gray and not green. The only reason why he is green is because of a printing error where when Hulk was being printed out for the comic books, he was supposed to be gray, but then he came out as green and they kind of just stuck and rolled with that. And I'm actually so happy that they did, because in my opinion, green looks way better. The more I hear about this movie, the more excited I get about it. Anyways, moving on to this next piece of promotional art and promotional poster. And in this poster, we see that it features Spider-Man on top of the poster, and below him is 4 different villains that he'll be facing off in this movie. Those villains are Boomerang, Tarantula, Scorpion, and the Hulk. This seems to be like a scrap promotional poster though, because I noticed that a lot of these character designs were scrap. Like the Scorpion will not look like this in the movie. That's not what his tail's gonna look like. I don't think that this is the final look for Tarantula either. And Hulk, we haven't seen him in the trailers. We don't know what he will look like officially. So let's just give us like a more deeper look on what he might look like in the movie. So far, based on the promotional art, it looks like he's still gonna be the Green Hulk and not the Gray Hulk. Now, moving on to more promotional art and posters, we see another villain who we have yet to be seen in any trailers finally get shown what his design will look like in the movie based on this promotional art, and that villain is Tombstone. I forgot the name of the actor that's going to be playing Tombstone in the movie, but he was already announced to be in this movie. I'm pretty sure we hear his voice in the first trailer we get for this movie.
Spiders have 3 life cycles.
But if any of y'all have ever seen Black Lightning, he is the main villain in Black Lightning. That actor is going to be playing Tombstone in Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Sit your weak monkey down before all the people are free to learn that the Pierce family is the chocolate-covered Incredibles.
But anyways, as you see in this promotional art, he will have his classic comic book look with the nice tailored suit. And in this next photo, we get a much better look on what he might look like. Like I said, again, nice suit, and his hair is just pointing up. And in this specific poster, this is paying homage to the spectacular Spider-Man comic issue number 142 comic cover released in 1988. It's literally ripped straight from the comics and just has the designs from Brand New Day on the characters. This gives us the first idea on what Tombstone is going to look like in the movie. And dude, all these character designs have been great so far. They are absolutely killing it with all the costumes and character designs in this movie. It's looking out to be one of the greatest movies, the greatest Spider-Man movie of all time. But yeah, those are all the promotional posters and Empire posters that we got that were released onto the internet. Now let's move on to more set photo leaks. In this first photo, we see Spider-Man shaking hands with, and before I say his name, I just want to apologize in advance if I don't say it right, Tramiel Tillman's character, who was William Metzger, who in the comics is an anti-mutant activist. And seeing that Sadie Sink is the only mutant in this movie who was she's supposed to be playing Jean Grey, he's probably teamed up with Damage Control, who was also in this movie, to find and seek out Jean Grey and take her down because she is a mutant. And if his character is following the character that he is in the comics, that is my best guess on what he might be doing in this movie. And maybe he's using Spider-Man to get to her. As we saw in the trailer, when Spider-Man takes out one of the tanks or opens one of the tanks, it's an old woman in there and she's being mind controlled by Jean Grey. So I'm pretty sure he might have been working with Spider-Man or have Spider-Man help him out with catching Jean Grey or something along those lines. Anyways, moving on to this next photo, which in this photo we see Peter with Bruce Banner outside of his university. They're talking to each other, and the best guess I have on why they're talking to each other is probably about Peter's mutations. Not directly talking about that, because I'm pretty sure Peter did not tell Bruce Banner that he's Spider-Man. But Peter kind of talking to Bruce like in a hypothetical type of way about mutations, so Peter has a better grasp of an understanding of what's going on with them. Based on what I think they're talking about, this is probably after he gets his first mutation or notices that he is changing. This photo also gives us a new look on what Peter's gonna look like outside of just being Spider-Man and kind of his college look. But other than that, that's all I can take from this photo. Now let's move on to this next one, which I think is more visually intriguing. And in this photo, we see Spider-Man with a shuriken in his shoulder, most likely put there by the hand. And if you look closely in this photo, we see that he has his web shooters. And I begin to notice that the web shooters are a really good timestamp tool to determine whether it's in the beginning or middle or later in the movie. Because we know later in the movie, he does get his mutation, which requires him not to need his web shooters as much. So the fact that he's wearing them right now tells me that this is definitely sometime in the beginning of the movie when he's fighting them. Yeah, he definitely faces off with the hand both before and after his mutation. And I'm just gonna take this moment again to just praise how good his suit looks with the whole stretching mechanics and like how great it looks just like in the image and in the moment. Like, I'm not even kidding, it looks like it was ripped straight out of the comics, and I'm so happy that it actually looks like that. Marvel, going forward into the reboot of the MCU, make sure all of your iconic characters, or honestly all of your characters, have comic accurate suits, because obviously all the fans love it and we've never complained about that at all. Moving on to the next photo, which features Frank Castle and a quote about his character in this movie from John Berthenol. The quote says, "Frank Castle is perfectly at peace in a world of absolute darkness." This basically is telling us that he's at peace with being the Punisher. It's also kind of telling us that he's just gonna be how he was by the end of the Punisher special, which I will give my review on in a future video. This also gives us a new and clearer look at what his suit is gonna look like. The first thing I noticed personally is that his breastplate is kind of like not as bulky as it was in the Punisher special. And obviously the skull is not as dominant and white as it was in the Punisher special. But the only reason why that is because this movie will be streamed in China, and in China they do not kind of like the skull. I don't know the full history behind that, but I heard that that's the only reason why his logo or like his symbol looks like this. Another very noticeable detail about his suit is that where the teeth of the skull are supposed to be, we see knives there as well. I don't think we've ever seen that before with this character in the past, which is why I pointed it out. Yeah, other than that, it looks great. This whole thing looks great. And if you ask me, I actually like this look better than he looked in the Punisher special. The whole beard and like the real big bulky suit kind of look is not like my personal like preference. The only thing that'll make it even more perfect is to give him white gloves and white boots, just to kind of reference the comic accurate look a little bit more. But anyways, moving on to this next photo, which shows Scorpion holding a damage control agent. And judging off of the setting and the look of this photo, it seems like this is actually where Scorpion and Spider-Man will face off. We saw a little bit of their fight in the trailer. Before that happened, Scorpion was just, I guess, fighting some damage control agents or causing havoc throughout the city, and damage control took it upon themselves to try to handle the situation. And we see Scorpion just like murking all these damage control agents, and Spider-Man finally swoops in and kind of saves the day. That's what I think is going on in this scene. But also, speaking of damage control, we've actually seen them in previous Marvel films, most recently in Wonder Man. And we've also previously seen them in Miss Marvel and Spider-Man No Way Home. It seems like they're becoming more dominant in the MCU. They're kind of becoming the new SHIELD in a sense, kind of monitoring all the superheroes and like keeping them in check, along with all the supervillains, like Scorpion. But there's also a quote in this photo from Kevin Feige, and it says, "This is the first MCU Spider-Man film focus on the classic elements of Spider-Man." Now, when I think of the classic elements of Spider-Man, I think of like the classic villains, classic looks, classic storylines, and I'm pretty sure that's kind of what he's saying in this quote. In this movie, you will see a lot of things that he does in the comic books, in the cartoons, like all that classic, really good Spider-Man stuff. Those are all the set photo leaks that I have for you guys. Now let's move on to the official looks at the movie, given to us by Empire exclusive. Okay, so in this first photo, we see Spider-Man holding up what seems to be like a heavy object. And I want to emphasize the heavy object a lot, because more notably, we see that in this photo, Peter does not have his web shooters. And like I said in the beginning, that's a very good tool of kind of telling us where these images are set in like the time step of the movie. And this is obviously after his mutation. So I say that he's holding up a very heavy object because this is probably a scene in the movie where it's kind of showing that because of his mutation, Peter actually gained more strength than he already had. And once again, I'm gonna say throughout this whole video, his suit looks absolutely amazing. It might just be the greatest Spider-Man suit of all time, at least in the live action aspect. Anyways, moving on to this next photo, we see Spider-Man and Punisher both teaming up together, taking down whoever Punisher is shooting at in there. And once again, we see Peter with his web shooters. Now, this tells us this is at the beginning of the movie. This is probably right before the scene where they're chasing these tanks down the streets of New York. This is definitely during the beginning of the movie. And I can't wait to see what Punisher and Spider-Man's dynamics are gonna be like in this movie. So let's move on to the final photo I have for you guys today in this video. And it shows a photo of Peter and MJ together in a room. Now, to me, this is very important because I remember there was a time when this movie was being like thought about, like rumored to be released, and everyone and their mom was saying how they don't want MJ that dominant in the movie. But it seems like that's not going to be true at all, because this is now our second time we've seen Peter and MJ together. The first time was in the trailer when they were on that rooftop, and now this is the second time, and they're in a room, and they're just with each other. I'm pretty sure they're definitely talking to each other in this scene, which tells me they get really close in this movie. I don't know if she just gets close with Spider-Man and she just thinks like Spider-Man just trusts her, or if Peter revealed to her that he is Spider-Man and they're just now best buddies, or like she somehow regained her memory and like they're back together. I did not want her to be this dominant in the movie, but once I saw her in the trailer, her and Ned, I just kind of accepted the fact that she was definitely going to be in this movie a lot more than a lot of other people wanted her to be. But honestly, I can burst past that. But anyways, let's focus on one of the more important things in this photo, and that is what Peter is working on this computer. If you zoom in pretty closely, you can see that it looks like Bruce Banner's Hulk regulator. We have seen this regulator before in She-Hulk, and it does exactly what the title of the thing is. It regulates him from turning into the Hulk and transforming into the Hulk. Based off what I just showed you guys in the beginning of the video of Hulk actually being in this movie, I'm pretty sure he's definitely fixing it or making some modifications to it. But in this photo, it looks like he's definitely modifying it or fixing it. So when he brings it to the Hulk, it helps Bruce Banner try to take over and gain more control and revert back to Bruce Banner. But other than that, all I can say about this photo is that his suit looks absolutely amazing. But yeah, y'all, that's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and turn on the notifications to notify when I post a new video. And comment down below all of y'all's opinions about all this stuff I just showed you in this video. I would love to hear all of you guys' opinions in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace!